Your environment is not neutral. It is active. The room you wake up in, the people you pass time with, the feeds you scroll. They are daily instructions for who you will become. Eric Thomas says your atmosphere sets your altitude because your surroundings whisper to your ambition every single hour. If the whisper is small, your dreams get small. If the whisper is big, your life expands. A cluttered space breeds a cluttered mind. When your desk is chaos, your thinking fragments. When your home is unkempt, your habits relax. Upgrade is practical. Clean, organize, create a place where work and focus are welcome. The environment that tolerates mediocrity will keep you mediocre. The environment that demands discipline will produce discipline. Time architecture matters. Where you place your energy determines your outcomes. Stop treating time like an infinite resource. Design the hours of your day with intention. Have spaces for study, for work, for rest, but make the workspaces sacred. When your environment prizes productivity, your days become engines of progress. Who you sit next to at the table shapes your conversation and ultimately your standards. If your closest companions normalize small thinking, you will acclimate. Move toward rooms where big ideas are spoken aloud, where records are broken, where someone is always studying while others sleep. Proximity to excellence reduces the friction between who you are and who you want to be. Upgrade means subtraction as much as addition. You must remove tolerations, apps that steal time, habits that drain willpower, television that numbs ambition. This is not deprivation. This is design. Clear the surface so your potential can stand on clean ground and be seen. The sensory atmosphere matters. Light, sound, and order affect focus. Put bright light on your work, choose sounds that prime action, and create rituals that cue your brain into productivity. When the environment signals ready, your body responds. Make your space an ally, not an obstacle. Surroundings influence vocabulary and thinking. If your circle uses words like can't and impossible, those words will live in your mouth. If your walls display disciplines and reminders of goals, your language tightens. Upgrade your environment so it speaks success to you daily until that language becomes automatic. Upgrade is financial and mental. You don't need a mansion to upgrade. You need standards. A corner with a strong chair, a good light, and quiet is more valuable than a flashy room with no discipline. Spend where it matters. A good book, a planner, a reliable alarm. Those small investments compound into large returns because they whisper productivity into your day. The company you keep in physical spaces shapes routines. If you choose coworkers who arrive early and leave late, soon your calendar will resemble theirs. If you choose friends who practice discipline, your excuses shrivel. Upgrade your environment by choosing peers whose rhythms you admire and wish to emulate. Upgrade requires attention to information diet. What you allow into your mind frames your decisions. Replace passive consumption with deliberate learning. Trade endless scrolling for reading, for courses, for conversations that refine skill. The environment that floods you with growth materials will transform curiosity into competence. Your environment should challenge you daily. Put reminders of difficult goals where you can't ignore them. Let your surroundings be an assessment tool. If you stop feeling discomfort in your space, you're not growing. Design discomfort that is productive. Deadlines, visible goals, active schedules that force you to move. Upgrade your environment by aligning it with your mission. Visual cues of your why, photos, notes, quotes, matter because they call you back when doubt creeps in. The right imagery anchors action. When your environment constantly references purpose, laziness has nowhere to hide. Guard your inner circle like your future depends on it, because it does. Your environment is interpersonal as much as physical. The habits, jokes, and shared routines of those close to you either lift or drag. Curate those relationships so that each interaction nudges you forward. Make your environment a rehearsal space for the life you intend to lead. Act as if you already belong in the circles you seek. Practice the habits of high performers in the environment you occupy now. Upgrade your space so that every action you take is practice for a higher level of performance. Upgrade your environment by creating friction for bad choices. Place the things that keep you disciplined in easy reach and the temptations far away. Small barriers to vice, small pathways to discipline. These architectural tweaks change behavior without relying solely on willpower. Enforce rules for your environment and enforce them like training. No phone during certain hours. No social media before work. A disciplined environment reduces decision fatigue and keeps the focus on execution. When your space demands standards, you rise to meet them. Understand that upgrading your environment is a weekly ritual, not a one-time event. Inspect, correct, and refine. The person who cares for their space regularly cares for their future. Make Sunday evening edits to your surroundings and watch Monday mornings turn into high-output days. Your environment should produce discomfort that trains you. Place challenges in view. A fitness tracker, a sales goal chart, a writing target board. The persistent visibility of hard work required becomes the muscle memory of success. Upgrade your environment to deliver that daily tension for growth. Finally, remember that your environment will eventually demand excellence from you. If you upgrade your surroundings and do not change, the environment will become intolerant of excuses. That's the point. Surround yourself with higher standards until you become incapable of accepting lower results. Mediocrity is easy to justify because it is comfortable. It allows your ego to sleep while your potential fades. Eric Thomas says distance yourself because staying close to average people normalizes average results. You can be kind and still refuse to let mediocrity set the terms of your life. Distance is also a practice in hygiene, social hygiene. You don't abandon people. You protect your priorities. Say no to invitations that drain time, decline conversations that lead to complacency, and remove yourself from groups that applaud comfort. This is not cruelty. It is stewardship of your future. The contagion of average behavior is silent and incremental. A missed workout, a skipped study session, a habit of late nights becomes a pattern only visible months later. When you distance yourself, you break the slow drift toward lower standards. You stop the leak that robs ambition drop by drop. Distance requires courage because it triggers friction in relationships. People will ask why you changed. Some will resent your new boundaries. Be prepared for resistance. That response often confirms you made the right move. Your growth will make others uncomfortable because it forces them to look in the mirror. Distance doesn't mean isolation from compassion. You can care about people while refusing to let their choices define yours. The greatest leaders love deeply and choose fiercely. Keep people in your life who matter, but refuse to let the routine voice of mediocrity drown out your pursuit of excellence. Recognize the voice of convenience. It will whisper rationalizations. Rest today, we can start tomorrow, one miss won't hurt. Those whispers become the script of a stagnating life. Distance yourself from convenience and replace it with urgency. Urgency produces mileage that excuses never will. Distance yourself by raising your standards publicly. When you declare your goals to a powerful circle and make them visible, mediocrity loses its hold. Public expectation is a lever for accountability. People who demand more from you keep you honest. People who accept less from you make it easy to slide. Distance is enforced through rituals. Choose routines that exclude low-value behaviors. Early morning workouts, study windows, and technology blackouts are not punishment. They are scaffolding. When you build rituals that elevate, mediocrity has fewer opportunities to creep in. Distance is a test of loyalty to your future. Some bonds ask you to trade your tomorrow for their present comfort. Recognize those requests and refuse them. Loyalty to your dream may temporarily dissatisfy others, but in the long run it protects the people you will bring forward when you win. Distance reveals who will ride with you. When you push forward, you'll see who celebrates and who criticizes. Those who sit in the stands with applause but no action often fade. The ones who choose to step up, who match your intensity, will become your real circle, the people who make excellence habitual. Distance accelerates clarity. When you remove low expectation influences, your vision sharpens. The noise fades and the signal grows louder. You begin to see where to invest your time, which relationships deserve priority, and where your energy must flow to create results. Distance is a daily discipline, not a single decision. You will be tempted to drift back into comfort. Each time you choose the harder path, you reinforce a habit. Over time, the habit of rejecting mediocrity becomes the identity of a high performer. That identity carries you through seasons of doubt. Distance is also about language. If your group normalizes phrases that excuse action, step away. Replace "I can't" with "How can I?" Replace "That's not for me" with "How can I make it possible?" Your vocabulary dictates your options. Distance yourself from the lexicon of defeat and adopt the dialect of possibility. Distance sharpens your competitive edge. When you refuse average company, you create a performance gap. That gap becomes your advantage in work, in sport, in skill acquisition. Competition is not always external. The fiercest rival is the version of yourself that settles. Distance protects your time economy. The minutes you reclaim from low-value socializing compound into hours of production. That sovereign control over time becomes the capital that funds your progress. Every hour saved is an investment in becoming more than average. Distance is about expectation setting. Expect more from your relationships. More challenge, more accountability, more growth-driven conversation. If your social group cannot rise to meet those expectations, it is not your enemy to move away from them. It is your career to move toward better company. Distance cultivates appetite for excellence. When mediocrity is kept at bay, your appetite for challenge grows. You begin to hunger for higher results and log more hours in practice, study, and craft. Hunger cannot be feigned. It is built by the choices you consistently make to reject the easy path. Distance is not about perfection. It's about trajectory. You will not become perfect overnight, but you will become purposeful. Aim less for flawless company and more for the company that moves you forward. Progress prefers intentional proximity to people who accelerate your timeline. Finally, distance is a love letter to your future self. By refusing the slow death of mediocrity, you keep your potential alive. The person you become will thank you for making hard choices today. Distance yourself now so that later you can stand in rooms where excellence is the norm and belong. Mentors compress time because they have walked where you want to go. Eric Thomas always insists that you need people who have done more than you and who will tell you the truth, even when it hurts. Mentors hold the map you don't yet have. They show the pitfalls and the shortcuts that matter. Mentorship begins with humility. You must accept that you don't have all the answers and be willing to receive critique. Approach mentors with a learner's heart. Show them your work, your goals, and your willingness to be coached. Pride repels opportunity. Teachability invites it. Mentors are not cheerleaders alone. A true mentor corrects when needed, challenges when comfort appears, and expects measurable progress. They won't coddle you. That correction is love in action because it pushes you out of comfortable patterns into performance modes. Accountability partners turn intention into habit. When you declare your daily standards to someone who checks in, you do not treat them lightly. Accountability turns a private ambition into a public contract. The simple act of being answerable increases follow-through and reduces the mind's capacity for rationalization. High-level mentors expand your vision. They help you see beyond small wins and map a trajectory to bigger stages. Mentors introduce you to frameworks, networks, and mindsets that shorten the journey. Their perspective reorients your goals from local to global, from comfort to conquest. Accountability partners create a feedback loop. They notice small regressions before you do. They call you out on missed standards, and they celebrate the quiet wins that compound into major momentum. That continuous loop prevents drift and forces incremental improvement. Mentors expose you to standards you might never meet on your own. When you spend time with people who operate at a higher level, you internalize their criteria for excellence. Their standards become the benchmarks you measure yourself against. That exposure raises your bar without you having to guess what elite looks like. Accountability makes your schedule sacred. When someone else depends on your discipline, you guard your minutes differently. No more casual procrastination. Your calendar becomes a contract with your future. That contractual mentality forces the kind of consistency that builds mastery. Mentors give clarity under pressure. In moments of doubt, when the noise becomes deafening, a mentor's counsel simplifies decisions. They help you prioritize what matters and discard what distracts. That clarity under strain keeps you moving in the right direction instead of being paralyzed by options. Accountability partners are the practical reality check. They measure output, not intention. They ask for evidence. They make sure your talk matches your walk. If you say you trained, they ask for proof. If you say you wrote, they read. That practice develops integrity and execution. Mentors also connect you to networks. They open doors that were invisible before. The people who can write checks, create stages, or share platforms often operate in the mentor's orbit. Being in that orbit multiplies opportunity because connections are accelerators of destiny. Accountability partners teach resilience. When you miss, they help you recover quickly rather than letting excuses build into habits. The cadence of reporting and re-engaging prevents the long fades that derail progress. Resilience grows when you are required to account and then reapply effort immediately. Mentors mirror possibility. They show you a version of your life that is attainable because they live it. Seeing that possibility makes the abstract concrete. Their presence says, "This is doable." That cognitive shift is massive because it changes the ceiling you had unconsciously accepted. Accountability partners model consistency. When you pair with someone who honors daily standards, you internalize the rhythm. Consistency is less mysterious when it is practiced alongside someone else. Two disciplined people are harder to derail than one isolated individual. Mentors teach strategy over hustle. They insist you work smarter, not just harder. Their experience helps you see where leverage sits, where to invest energy, and when to pivot. That strategy saves time and preserves energy for sustained execution. Accountability partners provide emotional balance. They celebrate wins and anchor you when pride or frustration threatens to derail focus. This emotional regulation matters because growth is a marathon, not a sprint. Partners keep you steady through the distance. Mentors sharpen identity. They help you see who you can become and give you the language to describe that person. This identity clarity aligns choices and behaviors until your actions match the identity of the person you aim to be. Accountability partners create momentum. When you report progress, small wins compound into visible trends. That momentum feeds confidence, which in turn fuels more action. The partnership becomes a multiplier on your daily efforts. Finally, choose mentors and partners intentionally. Don't accept the first warm person who offers advice. Seek people who are a level beyond you, who will speak truth plainly, and who demand evidence of growth. The right mentors and the right accountability partners are among your most valuable assets. Treat those relationships with respect, reciprocity, and relentless follow-through. Friends should stretch you, not sink you. Eric Thomas says real friends refuse to let you coast. They are not always comfortable, but they are vital. True friendship pushes you into versions of yourself that you would not reach alone. Friends who force you to win will tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. They will call you out on excuses and celebrate your discipline. That kind of honesty is rare, and when you find it, hold it close. Respect the hard words because they are the scaffolding of change. Winning friends model behavior. When you see them plan their day, prioritize growth, and sacrifice comfort, you internalize those actions. Their routines become templates you can borrow and adapt. The simple act of being present with high performers raises your baseline. Friends who force you to win demand accountability in gentle and tough ways. They create expectations around your commitments and refuse to accept mediocrity. That pressure, when based in care, becomes a source of growth rather than stress. It becomes a mirror showing you what you can be. Winning friends expose you to competition in the best way: constructive, motivating, and sharpening. A little rivalry in the right circle pushes you past perceived limits. They make performance social and elevate your standards by making excellence a group expectation. Friends who force you to win celebrate your progress loudly and push you past plateaus privately. They make the triumph visible and the work invisible. That dual role creates the environment where success is both acknowledged and demanded, which accelerates improvement. Winning friends protect your time. They won't enable bad habits that take you away from practice, focus, and preparation. Their respect for your goals translates into support for your schedule and a willingness to prioritize your growth over fleeting pleasures. Friends who force you to win introduce you to new standards of living. They show you better books, better mentors, better tools, and better practices. Their influence elevates your taste and widens your possibilities. Soon enough, You stop settling for the small and begin to live toward the large. Winning friends are consistent. They show up in the trenches, not just for celebrations. They are present for the hard work and the recovery. That consistency makes them reliable partners in the grind and anchors in seasons of fatigue and doubt. Friends who force you to win are also candid about character. They refuse to normalize excuses or ethical shortcuts. Their standards push you not just to perform but to be somebody of substance. Excellence without integrity is a hollow prize. Winning friends insist on both. Winning friends create a culture of preparation. Before big opportunities, they rehearse, they plan, they critique. That culture rubs off because humans imitate nuance. When you're in a circle that prepares relentlessly, you start to value the prep more than the applause. Friends who force you to win are scarce, so cultivate them intentionally. Seek people who are ambitious, consistent, and principled. Invest time in those relationships. Give value, ask for critique, build trust through shared work. Those friendships compound faster than individual effort alone. Winning friends are not enablers of ego. They restrain boastfulness and amplify humility. Humility keeps you coachable, and coachability keeps you scalable. Your circle should keep you real while making you reach. Friends who force you to win help you rebound from failure. They are the ones who sit with you in the aftermath, provide perspective, and stoke the comeback fire. The right friend doesn't let you borrow excuses. They lend you courage. Winning friends hold you to long-term thinking. They push you to trade short pleasures for sustainable progress. When immediate gratification beckons, they remind you of your vision and help you choose the hard route that yields lasting reward. Friends who force you to win are also fans of your process. They don't only cheer results, they honor the daily grind. Their admiration for discipline keeps you accountable because you know who will notice when you stop showing up. Winning friends create safe pressure. They put you under expectation not to collapse you but to support you. That safe pressure is the most productive environment for growth because it demands more while providing stability. Finally, choose friends who force you to win because your life will be the average of the people closest to you. If you want to be exceptional, your circle must be exceptional too. Make friendship a strategic decision. Invest in people who will not let you remain the person you are if you can be the person you're meant to become.